Boom, and here we are. This is Matt's Chats number 20, and it may well be the last Matt's Chats ever. Who knows? But you know what they say? They always say, save the best till last. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I've interviewed some of my greatest heroes. I've introduced some lovely people right across the spectrum, but now I'm coming to my favourite person of them all, and possibly the greatest guitarist of all time, the one and only Ransom's Mr. David Barlow.
Thank you very much for asking me to be on your show, Matt. It's a privilege.
It's our show now.
Oh, is it? Lovely. I like all that.
That's it. It's all about, Dave. So how you been? It's been ages since I last saw you. I think we were in the studio last night. So it's been
yeah. If you hear like bells going off, right, and all that kind of stuff, that's customers, my customers, knocking on the door, coming to pick their gear up.
Wow.
So
I should explain to people that Dave he fixes men's guitars for the salubrious and the rich and the famous all over the time. Dave Barlow guitars. If you ever need a guitar fixed, tuned, amps done, Dave can do it.
Amplifiers as well. I mean, my main gig is amplifiers, but yeah, guitars. I do guitars too because I'm pretty good at that. Well, so they say. I tell you what, I was just counting. I think I got 120 5-star Google reviews.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good.
There you go. This is just becoming an advertisement for your guitars now. We don't have to.
Absolutely, yeah. Why not? That sounds good. Yeah. So if the bell goes, you know it's. But Joe's got it all in hand. If it's an emergency, she might have to walk in, but I'm sure that's fine.
Well, I'm sure our viewers out there will love that. Anyway, Dave, I want to take you back. I first met you about 5.5 years ago. I was trying to put a band together on the back of having an attempt at Eurovision, which is another story totally, which we'll come on to another day. And I came across your website, and I was actually transfixed by this guy with long hair jumping around, gyrating with his guitar. And I thought, I've got to meet this guy, even if he could be. I wanted to get him in my band, and I ended up joining his, which was the covers band Ransom. And what a great day that was. But what I really wanted to do was sort of take it back to your early beginnings, where you first started, and how your love of music became, and from there, really.
Yeah, so basically my love of music, where I started was I used to love music, but I was first introduced to rock by my good friend Kevin Chambers, or Chomps as we called him at the time. He introduced me to AC/DC. And like once I heard that was it. I was hook, line, and sinker. I was in on that, no problem at all. I loved it, and then I never looked back after that. And I used to listen. And I don't know how I got around it, but I used to listen to the Tommy Vance Friday Night Rock Show. And I was listening to it one night, and this riff, this sound came on. And I always remember it. And because I'll tell you that there's a bigger story to it. But anyway, the riff was the intro to a Rush song called Spirit of Radio. That intro guitar, that intro, and I thought,
yeah, I know it.
I need to play the guitar. I want to play that on the guitar. I want to play that riff on the guitar. I got to be honest with you, and I'm going to be brutally honest with you. After the riff, other than the riff in that song, I hated every part of that song because it didn't sound like AC/DC. But I loved that riff that's in the middle, and he sneakily, if you listen towards the end of the song, he puts it right at the end of the song as well. I loved that. And the big story is, ever since that day, even when I've played the guitar, I've always been a great believer in a guitar hook. And it's funny, coming forward, I was having an argument with Zach, which is the bass player in Ransom, who is also my son, as you know.
I know the fella, yeah.
Yes, know the fella. And I got this guitar. We got this song, and we were practicing it last night, right? And we got this song. We're going to be recording it on Sunday. And he changed, and I gave him the riff, and I go, that is the hook guitar riff. And it's at the front, and it was at the beginning, and it never happened again. And he was kind of putting on. I said, "Where's the riff gone?" And he said, "Oh yeah, it sounds good. We just only need it once." I go, "No, it has to happen in all parts of the song. That's the winning formula. You gotta have that in all parts of the song." And he's going, "Well, give me one example why you think you're right." And I said, "Go and listen to Everyone's a Winner by Hot Chocolate."
Oh.
So you gotta have a listen to that.
Yeah,
you'll know exactly what I mean. And there you go. That's the winner. That's from a guitar point of view, anyway.
Everyone's going off now and doing that. Everyone now is putting on that song.
Yeah, but I mean, and the other thing about that story is that don't just listen to heavy rock music or metal or whatever it is, you know, rock kind of thing you're into. Listen to other things as well, because there's some inspiring stuff there. Yeah, you know,
that's, you know, it's good. It's good.
you don't have to tell
that.
your friends you listen to it. Just have a listen to it.
No, absolutely. I think you're right. I think that comes out in everything we do anyway when we're playing, and I think it comes out even when we're doing all sorts of covers and the ideas that come up. You'll be playing one song and then you'll hear another riff of another song and you'll slip it in there and you'll do it. And you do it all the time when you do your walkabouts. I've noticed that quite a lot. Slipping the Chili Peppers in and something like a riff, you'll suddenly come across a riff while you're playing, and it's quite fun to watch. It's almost like, you know, guess the tune. You know, I'll name that tune in 3 or whatever it is. But
it's a bit of a free for all, that song.
You know, you said about the Rush expensive. Geddy Lee's got his autobiography coming out. My Fucking Life, or My Effing Life, as he calls it. That's interesting. So I wonder if he talks about that track. So from then on, you discovered you could play guitar. What was the first time you sort of joined a band?
Oh, well, okay. So the first time I joined a band, I think I was a late bloomer with that, because I did pick up the guitar when I was 13 and I kind of dropped it for a few years. And then I picked it up again. So I joined a band when I was about 20, and I joined a band called Overdrive. You know, the guy that was in charge of that was Andy Green. He's still about. He's still doing. Lots of people know him as Greenie. So if people watch this show, will probably know who he is. Greenie. He's in Still Remains. He does Motor Pace, which is a Motorhead band kind of thing. And he has his own band called Black something, and I can't think of what it is at the top of my head. Sorry, Andy. But yeah, so I was in that band. I was in that band for a little while, really. That had a few different connotations, and we kind of just went our own way after a while. You know, but that was the first time. And the great thing is we used to play. Well, I used to book a few pubs, you know, in and around our locality. You know, it's a good way to you know, get your feet wet. That was good. It was good times.
But you know what I mean? It's interesting how we go back to that. I mean, you know, that our motto is, you know, we bring the stadium rock to a pub near you. And you've always had that ability. I've never known anyone book gigs like you. Anyone out there, honestly, Ransom will play every week. Dave just gets on the phone and we're playing somewhere. We're never short of a gig, you know. And that obviously comes back from those days of when you first started out. And I think that's the excitement of playing with you as well, is that every gig feels like the first ever gig you ever did, because it's back to the pub, it's back to that. And the next week we might be playing a festival somewhere, but it's the same vibe. It's that same kind of excitement of while you first got into playing. Now, before I joined Ransom, you've had a few singers, haven't you? You had a few people in the band before, and the band's you've been around for a while. What was your sort of kind of ambition for the band when you first started it?
I'm glad you asked me that, and you asked me that because you know me, right? Now the thing is that when I set Ransom up, there was a reason why I set Ransom up, but it doesn't matter what that reason was. The thing is, the goal, and you should always have goals. Kids, listen to this, because this is diamond. This is right. The goal is I wanted Ransom to be the most famous classic rock covers band in the whole of the Southeast. Perhaps a little bit further. That was it. Blinkers went on, and that was all I care about. And I'm thinking, well, and I put a band together, and I put a singer and a bass player, a drummer, and I was happy with everybody. Everybody was on the same page, which I was very lucky with. Obviously, I had Zach joined right at the last minute, and I'm glad he did in the end. He went to college for 2 weeks, and all his mates were going, "You're an idiot. You need to join that band, because not only will you earn more money in a weekend than we earn at our day in our weekend jobs, you also get to play music which you love. So you're an idiot. Go and join a band." I'm not saying they said that. I think they said that, because he came back after 2 weeks going, "Yeah, I'm in." Anyway, the whole ethos of the band, that was it. So basically, blinkers went on, and I thought, well, okay, so we're a pretty good band. We're doing some pretty good songs. We do a couple of gigs, and everybody likes us. What's the difference between us and somebody that's, you know, way ahead of us? Apart from the fact that, you know, they always say, "Oh, well, we used to have someone famous in our band, you know, it was somebody's uncle's brother's sister's dog," or whatever it was, right? They do that a lot. And I thought, no, we haven't got any of that. So what do we do? And I thought, yeah, I know what we'll do. We'll just gig as much as absolutely possible. And early on, it wasn't that possible, because people were going, "Oh, I can't do this weekend, I can't do that weekend." And basically, I'm glad I'm sort of gradually weeded that out of them. And we got to the point where, you know, we could play every weekend if we want to. Next year, I reckon, obviously with some changes that are taking place in the band, this is to do with me, not to do with the band members, because all the band members are spot on 100%. It's me that's holding back at the moment because I've got some other things going on. But that's going to stop next year. So I reckon we're going to be up to 90 gigs a year, easy next year, easy.
I mean, I found when I joined, it was the most prolific band I'd ever joined, and I had to up my game in some of the tracks, you know, some of the vocal lines. I know you adapted the band for me, but having to learn to sing the Zeppelin, to go into falsetto, but to have that control.
Yeah.
But what Ransom actually did for me personally, which was great, was because I was diagnosed with something called bronchiectasis, which is a lung disease. And I went back to the doctor. They had no cure for it, and I thought, you know, it's all over. They're saying, "Have you been doing something the last 6 months?" I'm like, "I joined a covers band, been gigging regularly." He goes, "Well, whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because what it's doing, it's clearing your throat, it's clearing your lungs, and it's making you well. So rock and roll can save the world, and it's saving my world. So the more we gig, the better I am."
Yeah, I'll tell you a few home truths. So when we auditioned you, well, I auditioned you when you auditioned me, because when I went to play an audition to your band, because that was the time when the band that Ransom was doing, I couldn't get them to do enough gigs.
Yeah.
People in, and I think it was to do with the singer more than anything else at the time. So I thought, well, I'll go out there and see what else is available. And I spoke to you, know, we had a chat, and I come to see what you're doing, and I thought this bloke would be great for my band. And you know, and I'm not going to get rid of my singer that I got now, but if he goes, I'm going to get this guy in. Well, I'm going to ask him, see if he's available, and you know, and that's how it worked out. But when we got you in for the audition, you know, we you know, because you only have to open your mouth, Matt, and we just know, we know it's going to be a good fun, right? But that's just that side of it. So we knew you was good at that side of it, and you could sort of sing a bit because you was a bit rusty. Let's be honest, you was a little bit rusty when you joined. And we thought, and I said to Zach, I said, no, he's not perfect yet, but he's not right just yet. But after a couple of weeks, maybe a month, maybe 2 months, he'll be spot on. And that was the case. We just run with it, and we just like slotted you in, and that's it. We just gigged. And I think you did a gig in Ash, didn't you? That's the back end. And I think we gave you about a day to learn all the lyrics or something. It was pretty cool, but it was a great gig. It was great.
Fun. I think I just winged it. In that day, I just winged it, or I just went with it. Yeah.
And now, like, you know, now it's like this is the best this band's ever been. With the lineup we got, this is the best. What with Zippy and you on board. This is the best that the band's ever been. And in all honesty, in the 7, 8, 9 years we've been going, we haven't been through that many people. We've only swapped our drummer once, but we swapped our vocalist. You're the fourth vocalist. Mm-hmm. But obviously Bun had to leave because he went back to playing with what's his? I can't remember.
Chris Slade.
Chris Slade, because obviously he's committed. He's committed to the Chris Slade timeline, so that doesn't count. Alice had to moved up north. That's another story. Alice, he moved up north and he's joined a more famous band.
Yeah, he's doing well.
And the other singer was I'm not going to say his name, but yeah, we just got rid of him.
Well, no, it was the workload. I mean, I you know, it was tough, but I really enjoyed it. And then we were really flying, and then sort of lockdown happened, and we couldn't play anywhere. And then that's when we decided to try have a go at doing some. No. Let's get this right. Right.
You decided.
Yeah.
You decided that we're going to do our own music, and you dragged us pretty much kicking and screaming into it, and I'm glad you did. But sometimes you have to have someone in the band to be able to do that. But the great thing is that in this band is that, you know, it's just because I formed it and I'm kind of like, you know, running a lot of the admin, it doesn't mean that I have to say. You know, everybody has a say in the band, and I think you dragged us. I mean, in all fairness, you dragged us kicking and screaming. But like, you know, once we got on board, we was like, yeah, we like this idea, and obviously to back it all up, you put a lot of hard work in to sort of promote, you know, the stuff that we did. So yeah, it was good. I mean, it was, you know, Matt Fielder's probably the greatest injection, you know, Ransom has ever had. You know, in terms of, you know, getting another person in. I mean, you know, Zippy's a great guy, but you know, and he's got a lot. He got a lot to give. But you know, from a perspective of writing and promotion and everything else, I think Matt Fielder is, you know, this is your life.
This is your life. Well, we all know our roles in the band, and we all know what we do. And with Zach's production came into the forefront. I think that's why I got a little bit arsy with the Planet Rock people. You know, we think we were recording that under covert conditions in in the lockdown, because it's that we did that. And we were being compared with sort of bands who had like 150 grand who were putting out albums and stuff like that. And I think the production on the track stands up anyway, which is rubbish. And we're going in at the weekend to record 2 more, and I'm really excited about it. 2 absolute bangers, which will be great fun to do. And I think it will show how far we've come as a band as writing. I mean, the techniques are you and Zach. You have a brilliant way of going off and creating the riffs and the songs, and I stay completely out of that, because otherwise, you know, it would be all sort of, it's easy. You come up with something, and then I love the challenge of sitting down at night or an idea in my head and just going over it in my head. Where's this going? What's this about? What do I feel with it? And I think that the way it works is great. It's a really kind of organic way of writing songs.
The thing that we have, Matt, I don't know. Obviously, we get people talking to us all the time. You know, 50% of the time they're drunk, obviously, because what we do. But I've been out there and I've seen other bands and I've listened to other bands, and I'm not saying who they are or where I've been, but I've heard bands on Spotify and I'm thinking, wow, they're killer. And I've got to see them live and I'm thinking, nope. No. When did they last rehearse? You know, they just don't sound tight. It doesn't sound like the song they're playing. It's sort of, the thing is, you know, that's, you know, obviously with Ransom, I've always wanted to be, you know, when we do record, I've always said to Zach, it's got to be like we do. It's got to be live. When we play live, people go, oh, exactly the same as a recording, or the recording is exactly the same as live. Not like the old like AC/DC all live in a room. No, I didn't mean that. I mean that when we play live, we sound like we play when we're recording. So there's no big production, no massive, you know, 16 guitar tracks and double and triple tracking different harmony vocals which are on top of different harmony. No. I don't want any of that. I want to sound exactly the same. So sometimes when you might hear a recording of us, you might think, well, it kind of, some people might say, well, it lacks a little bit of that, you know, production thing going on. Well, okay, well, fine. You come, you know, you book us for a gig, and what you hear, what you see is what you get. You hear that on Spotify, you go to a gig, you'll hear it exactly the same clarity, the same pace, everything could be the same. That's what I love about it. And I'm going to go into a rant now, and I think that the whole rock and roll thing has lost that. They've lost that. Because let's be honest, right? Where it's really at is playing live. Because totally. Let's be honest, right? You can put an album out tomorrow, Matt, or any band can put an album out tomorrow, Matt, and anybody can go and listen to it for free on any platform they like. So it ain't worth nothing. What's worth what makes that worth something is you going live and you playing it and you doing it exactly how it should be done.
Yeah, but that's it. I mean, I think that's our ethos. I think we always do that. We play every gig like that, and I think when we got to play the Hard Rock Hell Festival, particularly, you know, you could see people, you know, they lit up to it. They hadn't seen that band sounding exactly like they do on the recording, playing live in their face and giving it everything. And I think, you know, we'll play any gig like it's the same, whether it's the Dog and Duck or Download, we'll give it the same thing and the same respect. And we respect everybody, and we play that way, and I love that, and long may it continue.
People come up to us, Matt. People come up to this band, and I know this is a Matt and Dave show with Ransom, right? But people come up to this, and I kid you not, and I'm going to blow my own trumpet because I'm going to do it. Because people come up to us and go, wow, the clarity. I can hear all the notes. I can hear all what Matt's singing. I can hear all the words. I can hear everything in this band. When I hear this band out of this band, and from my perspective, I'm standing there playing, right? And like, we're not warming the crowd up. Two or three songs in, they're all up, going crazy. Yeah. Thinking this doesn't happen, like, you know, in some of the pubs and small clubs that we play. I went to see other bands that are supposed to be the best bands in the southeast and all this. They got it all on their posters saying, "Oh, we're great, and we got this band, this band, that band." And I go to the gig and every stand there going, "That's great, isn't it?" They're not. For some reason, obviously I know why. There's a combination. There's something going on. Bands need to sort of sort their shit out. I just think bands need to just. I'm not saying they should copy us. I'm just saying that they just recording an album and then playing it every now and then to some people. It's not enough. There needs to be more. There needs to be something else.
Well, you know my philosophy. You know, I always believe.
I do. I know your philosophy. Look, you got to win the crowd.
Yeah, not that one.
You have
to win the crowd. You have to win the crowd, and every gig is the respect of an audience. Is like they've never seen you before. Give them that chuck. You've got to try and win them, not them win you. I remember told off years ago for wearing shades on stage and something. You've got to connect with an audience. connect with every single person, and you've got to win them over. And I think the minute you lose that, or you think you've done it, or that's when it's the slippery slope. I think you've got to. We've both been in the game a long time. We've both done our hard yards, but it's now more enjoyable. I'm enjoying music more than I ever have in my life. Really just going out and playing. I don't care who's in there, just winning people over and seeing the smiling faces, everyone having a good time, and the Ransom family and everyone. And it is exactly what in my head what I always wanted it to be. And I don't care how big the stage is. In my head, it's Wembley anyway, so I don't care whether it's whatever it is.
Yeah, actually, I totally get that. I mean, I'm standing behind you when you're out there doing your thing. And I totally get that, and that's why you're in the band.
No one else let me.
Oh no. I think you probably could be in demand, but some bands I would say would probably, on one hand, kill to have you in their band, but on the other side, wouldn't have you in their band because it would kill their ego.
Yeah.
Because
I think that's it. I think you've got to be able to be prepared, and I think I respect you and Zach enough to kind of take the criticism. And I think people who can't accept that or know what's about. I remember we were recording Colorblind, I think once when we were doing Colorblind, and you came in and you said, "No, do a low vocal under that." And you came in and said that, and I thought that makes sense. And I did it, and it was absolutely right. And a little smile on your face as you walked away, said, "Yeah," because you've been listening to it and you heard it. And I think it's. If you're in a situation where you're scared to say something to somebody, you're in the wrong band. If you're frightened about saying something because they're going to get upset or they're not going to be able to deal with it, then you're in the wrong band, because it's like a relationship. Like, my wife will tell me exactly what's wrong with me, and that's why I'm with her. And it's the same with surrounding yourself with people. So many of these bands, they surround themselves with yes people, and people are telling them that they're fantastic and brilliant and great. And we could all do that, but where's it going to get you? You're not going to learn. You're not going to learn anything. You're not going to improve. I knew I had to improve with Ransom when I joined them, and I had to improve my vocals. I had to get stronger and better, and I knew, and it was that kind of challenge that drove me on. And I think now, the rewards are there. We go on there. We like the gig we had on Saturday is probably, you're only as good as your last gig. I mean, it was probably the best gig we've ever done.
Yeah. It was a good gig. I mean, and a gig's nothing without people to come and watch you play. So, although, I know the thing you say, one man and his dog, that don't happen with us anymore. We always have a good crowd. I mean, we're doing the goals are being reached, as far as I'm concerned. Is that we're from on a local level, Surrey, South London area, and maybe a little bit further, obviously into
Nottingham. Nottingham and Leicester.
Well, yeah. Well, that's different, but the thing is, around this area, we're steadily becoming, the go-to band to see, which is great. Which is, we have to up our game a bit and keep rotating new songs all the time. So I think that's important that we do that, and we continue to do that. But at the same time, what that does, that bolsters you up and puts you a really good foundation. So when you go and do these, go and do the Nottingham gigs and, the festival gigs and stuff like that, we are a fucking solid band. We are solid as a rock.
You can say fuck on this.
Yeah.
You can say fuck.
Yeah. And I don't understand why other bands don't do it more, but I'm happy that they don't, because that's more fans for us. So, but I think that's a solid foundation in which we work, and that's going to be. I'm not saying.
I actually think that, and I think I like the ethos we have. But then I'll big up other bands all the time, and I started this because I wanted to talk to bands and people I respected and big them up and say that. But there is a lot of insecurity out there with other bands, and they're worrying about, and especially at the moment, there seems to be sort of panic, and it's funny. I just don't care. I just enjoy getting up. We go and play. Like, looking forward to the weekend. We're playing the Alexandria in Farnborough. I've never been there before in my life. No idea what it's like. Just go there, but bring the same attitude.
Yeah, it's small. It's tight. It's small. I've been there. It's tight. It's small. But there's some people there. They're like the guys from Camberley and all that. They'll all come down, so they'll expect a show, and they'll want to see a show, and we'll put a show on, and the pub will be packed out. You won't make a bloody move in there. Although it won't be as many people there was for perhaps the last gig, because that was packed out too. But I'm not saying that we always do have a packed out gig. We don't always have a packed out gig. No. But when it is, it's great. But we got to put a show on, because they're gonna be coming especially to see us.
But that's it. I mean, that's the lesson. I put that in the book. Actually, I was taught a very big lesson years and years ago, where a guy came up to me after a gig. I wasn't going to say anything, but he came up to me after a gig, and and apparently said to me, you know, he had a really good show, and I apparently blanked him talking to 2 girls, and he picked me up on it 2 weeks later, and he said to me, do you know, do you know what I do for a job? I work for Twickenham Film Studios. I listen for sort of dog barking on the moon or a plane in a Gladiator film or something. And he goes, I really didn't want it, but you were playing a gig, and the guy next door was stopping people coming to see you. So I thought I'll go along and check you out. And I stayed for the whole gig, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I didn't think I would. And I came up to you afterwards, and you just went, yeah, thanks. So now, since that happened in 1995, every person that comes up to me, however drunk they are, however many slappers whoever I'm talking to, I'll give them the time of day. And I think about every person in every audience, what sort of day have they had? And I try and keep that in my head, because you don't know who's in there. You never know who's in there. So, or what they're going through. And if they go away from it, and I learned that DJing kids' parties as well, if they go just for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, whatever it is, they have to forget about everything that's going on in their lives, then we've done a good job. We've done what we set out to do.
Yeah.
Done it.
Right. Well,
there's not more we can really add to that. Really,
there's not more you can do. That I think that's brilliant. I think it's how you have to be. You just have to be like that. You know, there are some bands which I don't understand why they do it. They kind of hide behind a curtain, and they'll come on and they'll play, and then they'll hide back behind the curtain again, and they wait for everybody to go, and then they'll pack up and go home. And you think, I don't understand. I don't understand how that works. I don't really see how you can really get into that audience, and and it's great because when we're setting up, this is great. I love this. When we're setting up, you're off there talking to the people in the room, which is fantastic. I go around the bar and the barmaids and everyone chatting them all up and saying, oh yeah, it's going to be a great gig. And the people sit in the corner, you're going to stay. And I see you do it all the time. It's great. We don't need to sing. Oh, there's people come and go, oh yeah, typical singer, not helping setting up. No, he's doing his job. He's out there. He's talking. He's doing his job. He's doing what he's good at, and that's what we want him to do. That's great. It's brilliant. I love all that. I love it. And when I'm setting up, I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to talk to the other person. I just need to get it set up to get everything right.
I learned that. I learned that from going to a place called School Dinners. It was a headmaster, but it was an old restaurant in London where they were dressed like the school uniform. That's another story. But the headmaster didn't know who he was. He came down to the bar and he was mingling with all of us, finding out little bits of snippets, and then puts on his cape, goes up there, and he just slags everyone. He knows everything. He knows everybody in the whole room, what they're doing, what they're about, and he picks things up. You, the Puerto Rican in the back, you want to get deported next week, all that kind of stuff. He'd know it all. And it was, I just like it. So I kind of do that. I saunter around and pick up snippets of everyone's, whose birthday is it, who's that, and stuff like that. And I think it all adds to it. But yeah, it's my excuse because I'm just crap at setting up technical stuff anyway. So there we go. So what's it for the rest of the day, Dave? What are you up to?
Obviously, I woke up this morning, and all I had in my head was a couple of songs that we'll be recording on Sunday, which is which I think is going to be a milestone for our kind of our own material type of direction, where we write our own material. I think it's going to be quite a milestone. The great thing I love about this is that we're not following the crowd. There's every 3 or 4 years, rock and metal goes in a particular direction. We're not really following that direction. Good, whether it's a good or a bad thing, I don't know. We're just keep continuing down the middle, the Ransom kind of direction. Where we want to go. Hopefully it's going to be a milestone for our band. I think it will be. I think there'll be, it'll be to the point where people start going, oh yeah, I have heard of them. Actually, yes, I have heard of those. Yeah, actually, this is good. Actually, I think we're at that. I think we'll be at that point with these two songs.
I think you're right. I'm really excited about doing them. I'm excited about. We're going to be playing the Call of the Wild festival, and I think that's going to be a little bit of an audition to some people who are going to come. Oh, let's have a look at all these guys.
Yeah.
I think we'll see. Let's see what they're really all about.
But to us, it's just a pub gig.
Just another pub gig. Listen, Dave, absolute pleasure talking to you as always. I'll see you. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you Saturday. In Farnborough.
Rock on,
mate. Take care, dude. God bless. Bye bye. Woo!